Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
We'd like to make very welcome now in the studio with the Shoreline Film Review, Jan Dykstra. Very good morning.
Good
Lovely
morning
day.
to you, John, on this beautiful day.
And you dragged yourself into the film studio yesterday.
Yes, and I dragged my husband along too.
He wouldn't have minded with this one,
This
though.
film, yes, it's one.
He would have loved this one.
He did love it.
Yeah.
He did love it. There were parts of it where he was actually getting quite vocal. He thought it was quite under his breath, you know, when he was saying, drop the bomb now, the bomb now. But you'll
so immersive
realise
movie
why when I get to the title of this film, which is Midway, which is rated M and V, of course, violence of war.
Yep.
Quite a long film, 2 hours, 18 minutes, but it just seemed to pass so quickly with so much action,
Really?
you know, so just do see it. You know, ignore that long time length and see it. So Midway, it's the 2019 American war film based on the attack on Pearl Harbor and the subsequent Battle of Midway during World War II. It was directed by Roland Emmerich, who directed Independence Day, so you can imagine the kind of action shots you're going to be seeing, who produced the film with Harold Closer and written by Wes Took. The film features an ensemble cast including Ed Skrein, Patrick Wilson, Luke Evans, Dennis Quaid and Woody Harrelson. The film opens in 1937 with the US naval attaché in Tokyo and his counterpart discussing the US and Japanese positions in the Pacific Ocean during a state function. Isoroku Yakamoto quietly informs intelligence officer Edwin T. Layton that they will take action if their fuel supplies are threatened. So this is back in 1937.
Yep.
On the morning of December 7th, 1941, of course, as we know, the Japanese used their carrier fleet to strike at Pearl Harbor. The attack leads to the US to enter World War II. Shortly thereafter, a command shake-up occurs at Pearl Harbor as Admiral Chester Nimitz, who's played by Woody Harrelson, assumes command of the badly damaged US fleet. Layton speaks with Nimitz over his failure to convince Washington of the impending attack on Pearl Harbor. Nimitz instructs Layton to stick to his guns in the next battle with Washington, so as to avoid a repeat of the surprise attack at Pearl Harbor. Then in April 1942, after the Doolittle raid, which ended pretty disastrously, you know, when they ran out of fuel and ended up ditching over China, the Japanese turned their attention to the Coral Sea. Meanwhile, Joseph Roquefort and his cryptology team begin intercepting messages concerning a location the Japanese identify as AF. Layton speaks with Nimitz, who informs him that Washington believes AF to be a target in the Aleutians. Well, Layton disagrees, believing the intended target to be the Midway Atoll.
The Aleutians, by the way, up in Alaska, so the other direction.
So totally in the wrong direction. But, you know, Layton sticks to his guns here. You know, he's decided he'll take advice from Nimitz and stick to his guns. He believes it's going to be Midway Atoll. So Layton instructs Midway to telegraph in the clear, meaning unencrypted, that they're suffering a water shortage. So this is a bit of a test for the Japanese. Well, of course, US cryptologists then intercept Japanese communications concerning water shortages in AF. Well, this totally confirms that AF is Midway. You know, they realise, he was spot on. So Nimitz orders the carriers Hornet and Enterprise recalled from the Coral Sea and demands that the damaged Yorktown to be made ready for combat operations within 72 hours. On June 4th, the Japanese launch an air attack against Midway. I'm not going to tell you too much about this because the battle scenes are so impressive. It's something you need to go along and see for yourself. We all know what happened and we know the outcome.
And thank God.
It's
and thank God, particularly for this part of the world.
Intense battle scenes, the powerful visuals, edge of your seat stuff. You know, I was just totally enthralled with this battle scene. You know, this kind of special effects they use now. So you were right there with the pilots. You were right there seeing these bombs being dropped. The film's cinematography, it just deftly captures these crucial war sequences making us realise the magnitude of destruction of life and property during a war. You know, the whole... Wow, I mean, the bravery and the courageous men that did this and took this on, you know, following orders and sometimes not.
Yes.
And the results that ensued, you know, it educates, informs about an historic battle that, well, it changed the course of World War II in the Pacific. And we're right in here.
Absolutely, we were on the front line.
Our territory, you know, Australia was threatened. You know, they were just so close.
They were on their way.
And but what I really liked about this film is that they also showed the Japanese side of it. The commander, Yokimoto, you know, at the beginning, who was talking to the attaché and saying, you know, we will not be threatened. He was the one on the right there at the Battle of Midway, and well, it was historically a little bit incorrect, apparently, the film, because it says he went down with his ship, but he actually must have committed harikari 2 weeks later. But yeah. He felt he'd made wrong decisions, and
That battle could not have been fought if the American carriers went down in Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Would you say?
Well, that's right. It was all because of what happened at Pearl Harbor. This was it. That was it. This is what brought the Americans into the war.
And Admiral Tozier
turned the war.
When he got the first reports back from Pearl Harbor, the first question he asked was, did we get the carriers? And they said no. And for some reason, the carriers were not in port. And then it is said that he said, we have lost the war.
Yes.
So it's fascinating.
Yes.
Fascinating.
That's right.
Gosh, I'm going to have to see this movie.
Yeah, Yokimoto was also reluctant to wake the sleeping giant, as he called
it. Indeed.
Yes,
you
but,
don't want to annoy
really
the
felt,
Americans.
Yeah, he couldn't survive, you know, a long war.
Indeed. So that sounds absolutely terrific.
It's been very well done. Yeah, I mean, it's not the first time Midway's been made. There was one in '76 and possibly one, I think, quite a lot earlier. But yeah, this is the first I've seen of it. I mean, we know the story, but to see it
now we live the story.
We can see it.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Jan. That sounds like a terrific movie. It's simply called Midway, isn't it?
Midway. That's it, Midway.
And it is on now at the fabulous Shoreline.
A couple of times a day, so yeah, it's only just opened. They're showing it twice daily down at Shoreline, so take yourself along, find a time that's going to suit and see it.
I am sorely tempted so to do, but thank you so much for joining us. It's been wonderful once again. That's Midway from Jan Dykstra.
106.3 Beach FM.